Hi there! Welcome to Sorting Layer Organizer, a Unity workflow utility that's designed to fix the common issues with designing 2D levels and dealing with renderer sorting and turning hours of work into minutes of fun-level design. Thank you for checking out the asset, and I really hope that with this preview you can decide whether you want this tool in your project or not. In this video, I will show the fundamentals of the tool and how it speeds up level design, and we'll go into detail why it's better than the default sorting group component that comes packaged with Unity itself, and why its other extra utilities can help you. To start off, I will begin in this empty scene and create a simple level, and I will detail the various features in Layer Organizer. So, I will make some game objects and organize them in a way that makes sense. These game objects will have the background, which is the distant layer, ground, which is the center layer on which the player walks, and the foreground on which we place art that is situated in front of the player. I will make the foreground and ground layers later, but for now I will focus the main features on the background. Initially, I will quickly set up some background layers we have created, some simple slope art with grass, and I will use the normal Unity sorting group component to showcase the problem this asset solves. So, just let me set this up really quick. And yeah, right now, nothing is sorted, which makes sense because we still didn't add any sorting tool. As I said, I will first try sorting with Unity's normal sorting group, and then show you how it falls short. So, the way it falls short is like this. The more objects you have under the parent, which contains the sorting layer group component, the closer you get to breaking the sorting. Let me show you that in action. I will first add a sorting group component as you normally would, set it to background, and then add some grass elements to further increase the number of the art. And then I will duplicate the objects I made over and over so that there's at least more than 20 or 30 of them. And that should break it like this. As you can see, the sorting right now just makes no sense at all. Objects are all over the place, nothing is correct, and it's just a complete headache. So now, let's revert back to what was working. Get the initial number of assets as they were earlier, and then this time, we will use Sorting Layer Organizer. Go to the parent containing all of the art, which in this case in the background named Object. We'll remove the sorting group here and add the component named Layer Organizer. Its icon is easy to recognize. Add that, and now let's do this. In the inspector that shows up, you will see a lot of settings. We'll go through them bit by bit. The most important ones, that is, as this video won't cover all of the tools. If you would like to check out all of the tools, you can find them documented in the PDF document provided with the asset. However, for now, let's enable the Boolean that says Use Sorting. As you can see, immediately the renderers are all sorted. And not only are they sorted, they will take on the large number of duplicated art that we had from before. This is the first cool feature in this asset. I can keep going and going and going, and it will still render everything just fine. This is because the tool handles rendering by actually setting the index number of the sorting on the renderers directly. And as you can see as well, the tool adds a little script called renderer marker, which is used to apply overrides on the sorting situation. Say we sometimes want a specific renderer to ignore the rendering or just ignore the rendering of the name while still taking on the index change. We can have that. But for now, what I'm going to do is further refine this setup by actually defining the sorting layer name. The way it's set up at the moment is by typing down the name of the sorting layer. For here, we'll just type in background. And when we go back, you can see that every layer has been set to the correct name properly. And this is actually my chance to show you something else that might be important to you. I will intentionally change the sorting layer name of this layer to something else, just to mess with it. And as you can see, it won't immediately fix this issue. This is because the callback is being optimized to prevent the editor from lagging, and it will sometimes take a few seconds to catch up to fixing this problem. But you can always use the force refresh button on either the marker or the layer organizer itself to force fix this problem. Now let's get into something else that you guys might like. The tool allows you to pick from which index you would like to start the sorting. And this is very helpful as it allows you to make a certain group of renderers start from something like 100, while the ones behind start at 0. There are lots of use cases for this, and should you use this tool, you will use this feature a lot. As you would expect, it also updates directly on the renderers, so the number isn't magically hidden somewhere else. Anyway, I'll set this back to 0 as I get into the next bit. As discussed before, this tool sorts all kinds of renderers, though I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, but let me show you an example. I will add a particle system, and as you will see, it will sort just like it was a sprite renderer. This is because in Unity, all renderer kinds, be it mesh or line or trail, etc., derive from renderer. So, anything deriving from renderer will work with this tool and all its features. However, let's delete that now and get into some real-level design. The tool is supposed to make it much faster, right? Well, here it is. I will duplicate some objects and start making a scene. I will make it so that there is a ground layer sandwiched between a background and a foreground group of art objects. But before we continue, and I apologize for the pauses, firstly let me introduce you to a cool little thing called parallax, or z-axis distancing. If your game project is using a perspective kind of camera, you can use the utility to have it push objects back in 3D space on the z-axis, and you enable that by checking Sort Z-axis Positions, and then ticking off the Ignore Organizer option on the children you want to include in this process. Whoa! As you see, the sorter pushed the objects backward really far. But that's really okay, we just need to adjust the distance slider to fix that. This is how it looks playing around with the slider. It looks really fun. But this is what the feature does. It pushes objects along the z-axis to make them move away. And then, in-game, the parallax will add a lot of depth to the look of the scene. You can even change their order by dragging on the hierarchy to make a certain layer go back, and it will update accordingly. Now, I did want to explain some complex stuff here, so buckle on your seatbelts. The idea is, sometimes we have some art that belongs to another piece of art. Perfect example is, usually land art would have the grass be attached to it as a child. But doing so like in here would lead to some problems. Layer Organizer sorts by using the overall hierarchy order. By dragging the grass art into the parent as a child, it becomes in front of the parent, which harms the visuals we want to have. So, we fix this by ticking Rendered in front of children on the parent, and then making sure the child is ignoring the organizer so its z-axis is aligned with its parent. We apply the same idea on the other objects as well, so I will do that really quick before continuing. And while I do that, I will duplicate the grass, which has now become a child of the land art and behind it, and make it a tree object for some artsy look. Now with everything looking clean and proper, I will continue and add foreground in front of the ground layer. Same with the parallax we made with the z-axis positioning. I will do that on the foreground as well, and that means we want to sort in the opposite direction. So we tick foreground. Simple as that. This makes the organizer push objects in the other way, so the more we push the slider, the more they move closer to the camera rather than away from it. And with that, I will continue to design this level and get back to you once it's all fine and ready. Right here, I'm just duplicating the ground layer and changing it to fence art and placing it behind the stone ground layer. At last, I will add the sky art object, which will be situated behind all of the other art, and will be on the background layer. But if you notice, it is now overlapping with some of the stuff on the background group we made earlier. This is because they all start from the 0 index on the sorting. So, for the sky art, I will make it render on the background layer name, but push its starting index to something insanely negative like more than -2000. This ensures that whatever I place on the sky art will always be behind the mountains or other world art. Also, should you buy the asset, there will be an example scene that displays a high-quality setup for reference, but keep in mind that this scene will need Cinemachine installed to run as it contains a Cinemachine camera. Alright, that's a wrap. Thanks for sticking around and checking out the asset. I really hope you find it as useful as we do. If you haven't picked it up yet, give it a shot. And if you already did, I hope this video cleared up any questions you had. For more details, you can always check out the documentation. If you need more help or just want to chat, join our Discord. the link's on our website. Oh, and before we go, let me show you a sneak peek of where this asset really shined. Our game Neon Moon was entirely built with the help of this tool. Check out these visuals, it made creating them so much easier. Thanks again for watching and happy developing. Catch you later.